What's up, everyone? Welcome to round 4 of the Portland Monthly Pre-Modern Paper Magic Afternoons November tournament. Now, if you've been following along, good on you. If you haven't, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss more of these videos, because more are coming. There's at least 2 more rounds in the November edition, and then we'll be continuing this forward in months ahead. At least that's the plan. I'm definitely ready and geared up for the December tournament happening soon. But yeah, we've had some great Magic so far. Some great decks, and we have 2 returning decks to the top table. So without further ado, let's dive in. Making a three-peat for his 3rd on-camera appearance in a row is Ryan on Terrageddon. Now, we talked about this deck a lot in the previous 2 rounds, so I won't get too much into it, but a little bit of red splash for Fires of Yavimaya in the main, a little bit of black splash for Engineered Plague, and Pernicious Deed in the side, which was relevant in round number 3. Again, there's no real way to make black mana besides the Mox Diamond, but that didn't seem to slow him down too much. Overall, a really fun deck, definitely focusing more on the creature side of Terrageddon and Terravore plan, and less all in on the Oath Terravore side. So far, obviously working out great for him. Let's see who his opponent is. Yes, it's Nate on Sligh, returning to the top table. This is a pretty standard Sligh deck. Go fast, go face. The only sort of unusual part, I guess, would be the 4 Flame Rifts, but they do make a lot of sense in the main. I have seen some lists that run them in the side for those kind of longer games or opponents with slower game plans, as you're not being pressured by your opponent as much. In the sideboard for him, everything's pretty standard. I don't know how much he's going to be bringing in. Maybe some of the artifact destruction, maybe the anarchy to get rid of some of the white enchantments that could cause problems. But without further ado, let's get into the games. And here we go. Now, this is going to be a pretty classic mid-range versus aggro matchup. I do think that the Terrageddon deck benefits from having more of those small creatures than would normally be standard. Let's see, I see an Armageddon, some lands, including Cycling Land, a Swords to Plowshares. I don't know if I saw a white source per se, but I think there was a fetch land in there. There might have been a Mongoose as well. And Nate's going to start it off with a Mountain into a Jackal Pup. Pretty classic. Oh, there's Mom. That'll also be pretty huge in this matchup, I feel like. Ryan got a pretty clear idea, of course, what his opponent is on, and is just gonna play out the fetch, holding up the swords, which seems smart. Nate coming in, Ryan just gonna swords that thing right away, not gonna deal with it. Nate will go up to 22. Grab a really cool looking plains. I love that art. I think that's Tempest block, right? Some of my favorite planes are for sure. And Nate's gonna follow just with another Jackal Pup and a Seal of Fire. All right, pressure is coming quick for Ryan. He's gotta start putting down some kind of blockers. I'm seeing a fair amount of lands. I think that is a Nimble Mongoose next to the other fetch land. So he's got 2 fetch lands, a Mom, and Armageddon. Maybe it's not Nimble Mongoose, because I think you would have played it out at that point. And I can't imagine Nate wants to leave Mother Runes on the board for very long, because that'll start to get pretty annoying. Yep, just gonna go ahead and take care of it now. Smart. And swing in with the pup. And another Seal of Fire. All right. Okay, Ryan's gonna shortcut here a little bit. He's gonna fetch and then cycle, I'm assuming. Yeah. Just trying to draw into something a little bit better. Terravore would be pretty great at this point. I think he's got 4 lands? No, 3 lands. Okay, maybe not super great, but definitely a real consideration. There's always the chance that Nate's got more damage hand. And there's the definite chance that he's got more damage hand. And Ryan's just gonna pass. All right. Not sure if he's just holding up interaction. I didn't quite see what his draw was or what his cycle was, but nope, he's just gonna take the 2. And Nate will play out his 3rd seal. Ryan gonna go down 1 more. And this is becoming a very real clock, with Nate representing 6 damage on the board right now. Granted, 2 of those are one-time use. But with no creatures on the board for Ryan, it's quickly becoming well, very one-sided. See if he's got anything in hand that can help with this, though, or if he draws something that can help a little bit. Obviously, a lot of help is going to come from the sideboard. I believe there was at least a Warmth and a few other options. Hey, there's a Weathered Wayfarer. At the very least, it's a blocker for the pup, or a target for the seal. That's something. He's still got that Armageddon. And nope, is just gonna pass the turn. Finding, I think, way too many lands in this initial game for what he wants to be doing. Not enough answers and not enough of his big threats. Notably, he is only at 6 lands in the graveyard, so Threshold is not active if he's trying to hold up a Werebear to survive at least 1 seal. Nate thinking here. 3 cards in hand. I think he's trying to decide if he wants to take care of the blocker potentially. And that's what he's going to do. And swing in with the pup. And has not played a land for turn. And is just going to pass. Alright. Both players potentially holding up some late game interaction. Hey, there's a Nimble Mongoose. Now, was that in his hand the whole time, or is that what he just drew? And there's the Werebear. Now he doesn't... No, now he does have Threshold thanks to the Weathered Wayfarer. So very smart play from Ryan, holding up interaction, or holding up his creature away from the onboard interaction. And now actually has a way to stabilize. I think that's just a lightning bolt to the face. Yep, goes down to 8. Do we potentially have lethal here? Another 3. Down to 5. Can he crack the seal and just sack the mountains for another 6? It's getting pretty close. Here weighing his options. I can't imagine he'd want to swing with a Jackal Pot. That doesn't make sense. It's just going to pass. And he's going to hope, I think, for that last little bit of damage to come through his next draw. Now Ryan is in a bit of a sticky spot. Just going to swing in with the Werebear. Try and get a clock going. And is going to Armageddon. He's going to force the... Nope, doesn't have the... I'm blanking on what it is. It's not Pyroblast, obviously. It's Pyrokinesis. But Nate here, sitting with only 2 damage that he can force through right now. Has another mountain. And is just going to pass. Good move from Ryan. Really forcing his opponent to have it, which in case they would have just won the game that last turn. Ooh, Nate getting a Cursed Scroll. It's going to need a bit more on the land draw side to make that viable, but not a bad draw. Obviously a Lightning Bolt would have been the winner. Very much still live. Oh, it's got a Seal of Cleansing, so that scroll is not sticking around. And I think that might have just been a Mog Fanatic off the top. Yep. Alright, so representing 3 damage.
I'm trying. Okay, I'll pass.
Ryan with a 3/3 and a 2/2. The 2/2 providing pretty decent blocker. Oh, and there goes another Werebear. And this is quickly slipping away from Nate, but all he needs is just a little more damage. One more Lightning Bolt, one more Seal of Fire, and that's going to be enough. Crack the Mog Fanatic, crack the 2 seals, and that is game number 1 going to Nate. Game number 2. Now I have to imagine that Ryan did a decent amount of sideboarding here. I also noticed the sleeves have come off. Burn really turning up the heat. Nate, I don't think would have brought in too much. Maybe again that card that destroys all white permanents. And Ryan is going to start off with just a Treetop Village and go. I see he's got a fetch land, Swords to Plowshares. Nate's just going to follow up with a Mountain and a Mog Fanatic. And Ryan fetching for, I'm assuming, a white source, just for his swords. Have that online. Yep, those amazing planes. I do want to mention too that the mountain art choice is also amazing. I think that originally was printed in Mirage, and is one of my favorite mountains because it's literally just a giant sand dune. Hey, Ryan's got turn 2 Warmth. That's pretty good. Every red card that gets played, he gains 2 life, and he's thanking the card odds gods. Very good card for this matchup. Hopefully it'll be enough to stave off all the damage that's coming down. Nate's gonna go ahead and fetch. Just grab a mountain. I mean, it's the only thing he can grab. I don't think he's not splashing green. Actually, I know this for sure. We just looked at his deck list. He's not splashing green for any sort of artifact or enchantment removal. Those fetch lines are literally just to feed the graveyard for his... I'm really crap with card names today, guys. I'm sorry. It's the 2/1, or it's the 1/1 where you can pay 2 to exile cards from the graveyard to deal 2. Is that 3 Lightning Bolts in hand for Nate? Normally that would be fantastic, but with the Warmth out there, those are just 1 mana deal ones, and not exactly what you want to see. Alright. Playing out a Weathered Wayfarer. And a fetch. Ryan not needing to worry about his opponent over-ramping. So, Weathered Wayfarer just being a decent blocker. Yeah, I believe those are just bolts in hand. I'm sure when he drew that 7, that was an amazing hand, but yeah, sideboard tech really coming in clutch here in game number 2. Thinking about his options here, yes, the gaining 2 every time you play a red spell is a very real problem. And just gonna pass. Interesting. Doesn't want to offer the trade for the Weathered Wayfarer. Ryan has officially stalled out the board. And I think he might be calling a judge over real quick. Maybe asking if he can fetch in response. I don't think that's how that works. Maybe it does. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. That would be very slick if it did. I guess because you sacrifice it. Can you respond to that?
So Heath goes to hand, then we resolve.
Yeah, let me know in the comments, because that's a really cool trick, if you can. I actually did not know that. But it looks like it's going forward. Again, at these tournaments, we do not have official judges on staff. We just rely on both players agreeing to what's happening, or sometimes calling over someone else for a third opinion. Alright, so we got a swords in hand. I couldn't really tell what else. But just gonna pass the turn there. And I think that's a ball lightning for Nate. That's at least something. Can get through 4 damage. It's not nothing. Yeah, there you go. Ball lightning coming into play. Gains 2, goes to combat, swings for potentially 7, but nope. Ryan's got that swords ready, and Nate's gaining a ton of life. Unfortunate, but honestly the best move he had at that point.
I wish I had more creatures.
Yeah. Yeah, you do not have those spells.
And this is going to be a really, real tough one, I think. Nate just kind of thinking through his options, just going to get rid of that Wayfarer, not going to let him pull the same land trick twice. And Ryan now has that Treetop Village live. Ooh, and a Mox Diamond coming down. Land for turn. Ooh, and a Terravore in hand too. Alright, we're gonna have a big... Well, maybe not. Rethinking his options here. Maybe realizing that he doesn't necessarily need to sack the Terravore, or the Terravore is not exactly safe yet. Ideally getting one more land before cracking the fetch and playing out. Yeah, so animating and presenting the Treetop Village as a threat could be enough to, yep, draw out that one land he needs, gains another 2 off of the warmth, and now he'll go and fetch for a forest. And he's got a Terravore sitting at 4. Or sorry, 5.
Terravore's huge.
Sorry, 6, 7. He maybe didn't even do that. I think he might have forgotten about his opponent's graveyard there. So we've got a 7/7 sitting on the field. And even though Nate's at 25 life, that's going to be a pretty quick clock. Alright, we got a Cursed Scroll. Good. Great way to push damage through. Doesn't give warmth any extra leeway. I was just going to pass the turn. Nate's got a little life to work with here, obviously, so you can try and come up with a way to deal with the Terravore, but any way that's going to deal with the Terravore is going to be using a lot of his resources he'd rather be using on his opponent's life, and his opponent's going to be gaining life the whole time. Alright, we're going to bolt. And, yep, so that's only 6. That shouldn't have been enough. Unless he also activated the scroll, which I don't think he did. Yeah, that Terror was at 7, right? Pretty sure it still sticks around. Alright, Grim Lavamancer. That was the card I was trying to remember. That's why the fetch land is in there. Oh wait, no, it was out of 6. Sorry. I now see that that card in the graveyard that I thought was a mountain was not actually a mountain. So yeah, 6/6, that's totally fine. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. I'm just trying to provide the best commentary I can. Hey, and another Terravore. Okay. So we got a 6/6 Terravor. We got a Grim Lavamancer as the sole defender. And speaking of Grim, this is looking very grim for Nate. Not able to see too much what is in hand. I think he's got a Ball Lightning. So he could play it out and hope Ryan chump blocks, but Ryan also sitting at a very healthy 24 and would be 26 after playing that. Would probably just take it.
Go ahead.
Alright, no blocks. And Nate's just going to try and get some damage through, or get rid of one of the blockers. Let's see, that's another Seal of Fire. Not going to do too much here. He's going to play it out though. Ryan will gain 2.
Yeah, okay. Just need 2 more, you probably got it.
Almost missed that. And Ryan sitting pretty comfortable at this point. Can just keep swinging in, applying pressure. I don't think Nate has a good out without spending all resources in his hand. Dealing 2, dealing another 2.
Yep. 2.
Okay, so he needs 2 more. And there's the last bolt. Okay.
That'll do it.
Nate down to 2 cards in hand? Yes. One of which is a Ball Lightning. Being able to push through a little bit more damage. I think that's another mountain for him.
Cut out for you, but Grim Lavamancer's not a bad start.
Nope, just gonna pass. Oh my, is that an Armageddon? Ryan doesn't have a good threat right now, so there's no real reason to do that. And in fact, we give more fodder for Nate. But as soon as he can land something big. Oh, there's the Swords of Plowshares. Just gonna get rid of that Lavamancer right now. Exile the last of his graveyard, get 2 more points in. And Ryan's still just sitting at 24. Oh, land go. Both players digging for something. Really, both players just waiting for Ryan to put down a viable threat. Nimble Mongoose is not the best thing, but it is not the worst. Hard to get rid of. Is definitely a clock. Alright, we got another Seal of Fire. Bunch of mountains. I wonder if Nate's just waiting to draw his 1 sideboard out. Ooh. And a Circle of Protection red as well. I think this is about locked up. Ryan's got a clock, and he's got a way to prevent as much damage as he wants, really. And Nate not seeing what he needs. At this point, I think the game is pretty much just over. But both players just wanting to play it out. There is always the chance of Flaring Pain. That's an interesting choice. I can see it for Circle of Protection, but nope, that's going to do it. Nate's going to scoop it up, and we're going to game number 3. Okay, so Nate did have a sideboard plan, bringing those Flaring Pains. Makes a lot of sense for the pre-standard Circle of Protection red. If you see a deck running white, chances are they do have those. Which makes you think he also brought in the white permanent removal as well. Okay, so Nate taking the play, exactly what the red player wants to be doing, but is going to mulligan. And it looks like Ryan is happy with his 7. Now, I did take a quick look at the sideboard, and the card I can never remember is Fire Blast. I think I might have been saying Pyroblast before, but that's the one where you can sack mountains instead of paying its mana cost, which is primarily used as a game ender, especially if you already have your aggressive threats on the board already. And let's hope Nate gets a good 6 here. Always good when a game goes to 3 rounds. Oh, no. Oh, no. Nate going down to 5. That is not what you want to see. I mean, if it's Ryan, that's absolutely what you want to see. Any player facing down a mono red deck is always happy to see them mulling aggressively. Just means less fireballs, less lightning bolts, less jackal pups coming at you initially. They have to draw into those threats. I didn't get a good look at his hand, but it had to either be all lands or no lands. Because I think the Sligh deck can get away with pretty medium hands, just knowing that every card you're going to draw into is either gas or a land. They don't really have bad cards unless you count the sideboard cards you bring in. Alright, this looks pretty good. We got a seal, we got I think it's a Grim Lavamancer, some mountains, and I don't know what those cards are towards the left. Maybe... Alright, so putting a seal back and putting one of the mystery cards back. Or at least he's thinking about it. Oh, it's a jackal pup. Okay, so put a seal and put a jackal pup back. Interesting.
Well, what do we do about that?
I guess we call the judge. Judge, you fucked up. I drew 8 cards.
Nate thinking pretty hard here about what the second card's gonna be.
I don't remember. I'm gonna assume no. Yeah, I think what the solution here is Nate randomly picks one.
So shuffle them up and we'll play them on the table.
Alright, double check it. Yeah.
And I'm not sure what's going on.
I assume you just want
Ryan now shuffling his hand.
We're only playing for our house and children.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been sweating this freaking coffee, man. It's just got me. Okay. Yeah, man.
And allowing Nate to pick one?
We don't get to
Don't get to know. Don't torture us.
Did he mulligan? No, he didn't. He kept to 7, I thought.
God, this hand.
Very confused as to what's going on there. Maybe Ryan being a sportsman and allowing his opponent to randomly mulligan one? Very strange. Anyways, I'll leave it up to those guys to comment below what exactly was going on there, because I don't know. But here we go. Game 3. Nate leading off with the classic Mountain Jackal Pup go. And Ryan may be regretting that choice of chivalry. Because in hand, he's got a Cataclysm. I think that's a Sylvan Library, Enlightened Tutor. Oh no, you could play it a Weathered Wayfarer. Yeah, okay. You got at least a blocker. I think there was a Terravor. There was a Terravor. Alright, got Sheltered Thicket as well.
crazy over here.
Getting crazy over here.
Pressure, man. The big turn.
And we've got a Lightning Bolt.
That's
Lightning Bolt the Wayfarer.
2 damage.
Getting in for 2. And playing out the Grim Logmaster. Nice. Alright. Nate is definitely off to the races here.
Some cards that could be considered good.
Ryan with the Disenchant, which
Just gotta stay alive long enough.
is an interesting choice. Maybe hoping to, once he gets something like a Warmth down or a Circle Protection red, to hit Seal of Fires to force
Alright, all in.
their activation.
Enlightened Tutor.
Alright, we got Enlightened Tutor, probably grabbing... Well, I don't know what you would be grabbing at this point, because you have... Well, actually, I know what you'd be grabbing. You'd be grabbing Circle of Protection red or Warmth. But Warmth doesn't make as much sense in this situation, as Nate's already played out most of his hand. But I'm not sure if that's what he grabbed.
Better than probably. I mean, you could just never play a creature ever again.
Waiting for the reveal.
No, you would play a creature into one. Yeah. Grim Lavamancer's gonna do work. Alright, Warmth on top.
And I think that was Warmth. Pretty sure. Yes. Okay, so yep, playing out Warmth.
That's really good.
Nate lightning bolting in response. And Nate with a lot of pressure already on the board. So I don't know if Warmth is going to be enough with Ryan at 13.
You can get in there though.
Being able to push through potentially 6 damage this turn, or holding up the Lavamancer. Yeah, Nate only has 1 card in hand. I honestly probably would have gone with the Circle of Protection. You got to deal with the threats that are on the board. Yep, Grim Lavamancer getting in there for 2, and Ryan really just nope, okay, taking 2, taking 4, going down to 3. And is there a way for Nate to just get 1 more damage through? A lightning bolt would do it. With the Grim Lavamancer, of course. And, sorry, needing 1 more extra card in the graveyard. So, lightning bolt would not quite do it. But would get him in lethal of just 1 Jackal Pup. Ryan needing to play out a lot of blockers here, and a way to deal with the Grim Lavamancer. I think this game is going to be over pretty quick, unfortunately. Both players also kind of stuck on lands too. I did notice Ryan had the Mox in hand, so he could potentially pitch a land to play out a Terravor. The Terravor would not be very big, unfortunately. Only a 1/1.
Magically, I need to draw 2 cards without losing any life.
But at least it's a blocker.
Yeah. So that's
Ryan giving it a good think here, but I don't see a way out.
that was the debate.
I don't think Ryan's got a good way out of this, unfortunately.
There's 1 card in hand. I think I should fix it.
Looking at cards in hand now. And it's just going to show him. I think this is game over. Ooh, yeah, the Engineer Plague would have been good if he could have gotten 1 more land in hand. Doesn't look like he had one. I think that's a Cataclysm behind the 2nd Terravor. But that will do it. Nate takes it down in 3 games. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. There's 2 more rounds coming up after this. I bet we're going to be seeing Nate in at least one of them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.